Welcome to the Sports Bros Podcast, featuring the almighty B-Live, the money man Scottie D, and your host, the head of creative Eddy. The Sports Bros Podcast, by the fan, for the fan, talking sports just the way you like it. And without any further ado, let's give it up for the Sports Bros. All right. I know y'all wondering what the hell's going on with the Sports Bros Podcast. They give us a show 1 week, and then Eddy goes on vacation, then there's no show, and now we're back again. We'll just let you know we've got vacations and all that other mess out the way, and we're back. That's right, we're back here with another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. I go by the name of Eddy, a.k.a. the HOC, up in this thing, the head of creative. And I ain't gonna lie, my forehead is quite shiny because it's quite warm up here in Northeast Ohio. But nevertheless, enough of my incoherent rambling. I not only have one, but I also have two of the best co-hosts in the world. Introducing first, the almighty B-Live.
What's happening? What's going on in the world today? I come to you proud. I have my own studio, people. I'm coming to you from the Share Studios here in Fayetteville, North Carolina. We're building. We should be opening in a couple of weeks. And so I'll be testing a lot of different things going on. Am I pointing in the right direction where I put the Share Studios logo back?
Yep.
Okay, cool. Now, I'm trying to get on that level where I'm on the golf course like Scottie D is. I'm gonna get there. I just do this together, but we here now. And I guess at that point in time, I'm just talking way too much. Go ahead and introduce the other guy, bring him in, let him sing to the people and all that stuff. Because we here now. You back, baby.
He is the other guy with him singing Self, who probably is celebrating a Pirates victory as they did beat the Braves and everything.
Ain't nobody asked you to do all that. Just introduce the guy. You ain't got to bring up stuff because he gonna bring it up anyway.
All right. With that being said, he is the meanest, leanest, toughest, thuggish, ruggish video person, lunch person, wall wiper, wall washer. He is the Swiss Army knife of the Trinity High School in all Washington County. Ladies and gentlemen, he is the money man, Scottie D.
Everybody was kung fu fighting.
Yeah.
Those cats were fast as lightning. It was fight weekend, boys, in the cage, at SummerSlam, in the boxing ring, on the baseball diamond. It was all over. It was a great fight weekend. It was a great sports weekend. The bad news, I heard, I can't say that I saw it with my own eyes, but I heard that the women's soccer club, the little soccer team they got there, I heard they lost a 0-0 game in the World Cup and are eliminated. And I am saddened by that. But hey, check this out, guys. There are three of us. There are more of us than there are teams in the Pac-12. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, ain't that
We're down to the Pac-2. There's more sports pros than there are Pac-12 teams now. Interesting stuff, Eddy. Cool.
Yeah, how many teams are left now? Was it one?
Well, so have it was there reports that Cal and Stanford moved on, or what are you hearing?
They're about to, but I think was it Oregon State and Washington State are going to play each other 10 times for a home field advantage, and then they're going to play in the Pac-2 championship. And I think I think Oregon State's going to play Oregon in the 11th game, and Washington State's still going to take it. So we still have that, but other than that, it's going to be just a run of those two teams playing one another.
Jesus Christ, it's a glorified 7-on-7. It's going to be a glorified 7-on-7. Well, with that being said, fellas, let's not stall no more because we got a lot to talk about. Let's hop right into it. The top of the order. All right, let's get this thing started. Here it is, the top of the order. All right, so here it is. Everybody's getting the hell out of the Pac-12. What you got? Colorado, they say, you know what? We're going to go to the Big 12. and then there's a mass exodus of like a bunch of teams, which I lost count of. Like half the damn Pac-12 was going to the Big Ten. Then there's this mess about Stanford and UCLA going to the ACC. Wait a minute, Atlantic Coast.
Cal and Stanford.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Cal and Stanford. Let me get this right. Let me get this right. So Atlantic Coast, California, Stanford. It ain't making no sense. It's geographically incorrect. Kind of like when they did the whole the NFC Central, or like they did the NFC East and Dallas is far out west. You know what, man? Let's go ahead and talk about this mess that's going on with college football, with the pretty much mass exodus of the Pac-12. Scottie D, what are your thoughts on what the hell is going on in the world of college football?
Well, as you know, I have made fun of college football many times, as BLive goes and says, such and such, here's my top 5, and I will throw a 70-3 type of score out there. And I've poked fun of that kind of stuff. So I have to be careful feeling bad about the fact that the college landscape is completely changed and the regional rivalries are kind of fallen by the wayside. It's sad in the fact that, you know, you always like these traditional teams that have played one another. But, you know, I used to also like to walk through Blockbuster and pick out a video and then take it home and watch it. And now I just pull it up on whatever kind of media I can get my hands on. It's easier now. It's better. It's different. Things happen. Things change. So, you know, my first instinct was, man, I hate this. This is lousy. This is awful. I don't like all these changes. But I think as the guy who complains that there's not enough good football games on any given Saturday, in the long term, you're going to get more good football games, more top teams playing one another on any given Saturday. And it also means that TV now completely controls college football. It's not the NCAA. It's television and television money. Because when this started, it was what, UCLA and USC, they were the first defectors in this whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I think the rest of the conference said, okay, that's fine. They can go ahead and go, more money from us when we get a TV deal. But then they couldn't agree to a TV deal. They had the Pac-12 network and nobody could meet the price they wanted. So they were going to lose money because you lost all of California. That's a pretty big market in the media. You lost all that. So you're not going to have the money to pay the rest of these teams, even if you do go out and recruit a couple other teams to join the conference. And it just didn't work that way. So at this point, everyone's like, well, I better jump ship, better go get what I can get with another conference. And that's kind of how it's all unfolded. And, you know, it's college football is the driving monetary force in all of college athletics. It's the smaller programs that are going to be, I think, going to have a little bit more of a tougher time. The women's volleyball or softball or lacrosse teams, because now if you play for Oregon, you got to go all the way across the country to play Rutgers. If you're doing it in football, you only got to really worry about that travel once a week. But these other teams, they play a couple, you know, they play longer schedules. That's more trip. I think there should probably be some type of separation with that. If that's, I don't even know how that happens, but ultimately everything's going to look different. And I even think that 5 years from now, I think it's going to look even more different. I think that this is only a temporary thing. I think eventually these teams it's going to be like one big Division I, and they're going to have to like zone it. It's not going to be all the conferences. I think that's eventually that's going to kind of melt away too. But right now, I mean, yeah, it's sad to see the Pac-12 go and the Big 10 be the Big 19 or Big 20, whatever. I mean, it's different. Whatever it is, it's just going to be different. It's going to take some adjusting, getting used to. But I think as a college football watcher, there's going to be more to choose from as these deals develop. BLive?
I am disappointed. I'm sad because there's more to college football than the Power 5 conference. Or essentially now we're looking at the Power 3.5 conference, Power 4.5. It's sad because because the one thing that I've complained about more and more was that it's top heavy. And then you want to make the argument about expanding the playoffs And then you made the argument that it would help out the smaller programs. No, it's not. They have no chance in the world of even thinking about scratching the surface. Because at the end of the day, even if like they make that exception to rule where you bring in one group of 5 team, you're gonna end up running into the fact that these extra games that teams usually schedule where they play Division 2 or FCS, essentially, on what we've been talking about, those games are going to go away, which provided funds for those smaller colleges, those smaller conferences. It's all TV. Every bit of it's just TV this, TV that. I'm still trying to figure out. ESPN just laid off 20 employees, but they can afford to pay these mega billion-dollar contracts for college football. ESPN is losing money. I read somewhere where Peacock, NBC streaming platform, lost $3 billion this past fiscal year.
God,
like I'm trying to figure out what exactly is going on. Where is this imaginary money coming from? And then I mean, some of us just cut the cord anyway. And I mean, like who actually is paying for cable these days or paying for these networks, et cetera, et cetera? I don't know. The biggest problem that I see is that there is literally there's no regulation. There's no, it's almost like it's a free-for-all. It's wild, wild west. And this conference can do this, that conference can do that, which leaves this conference high and dry because this person 5 years ago was like, well, let me lock in a contract for 20 years. And this 20-year contract is going to suffice, even though the entire college football landscape is changing. That's what the ACC did.
But that's actually saving the ACC. Because if they weren't locked in on that contract with ESPN, ABC, they would be getting probably poached as well. They'd be getting picked apart too, but they still have all that backing coming in.
The thing about this is not the TV contract that's holding the ACC together. It's the grant of rights. Basically, the ACC said, okay, we signed this deal. We got this 20-year contract. Don't even think about going anywhere else, because if you do, you're going to have to pay us an exit fee, and the money that you're going to make in your new conference still comes to the ACC. So the SEC is like, why am I splitting money for them just to give it away? It's not even going to, like, it is ridiculous. And now it's just like, because that contract is way behind the times now. Like, as ACC teams are making $30 million a year, while SEC is making $80 million, and the Big Ten is making close to $100 million per team. Like,
no, I heard that wasn't accurate. I think they're Big Ten only doing 40 a team. Also, I think it was more in the pot than that. I heard that number as well, and then I heard that was not the correct. Either way, it's big. It's big money. I know what you're saying. Yeah. There's
a big separation between the Big Ten that has 18 teams, the SEC that has 14 teams, 16. They'll have 16. The Big 12, they're renegotiating a deal as we speak. Their TV deal. That's why all these teams from the Pac-12 like, well, let me grab that Big 12 money as well, because they're renegotiating contracts with, I think CBS is a big runner with them, because CBS lost their deal with SEC. SEC is going to be exclusively ESPN, and my head hurts.
It's a mess. It is. It's a mess. But the bottom line is, whenever the schedules start coming out on Saturdays, there will be more competitive games televised. You'll see more competitive matchups. You'll see more Penn States versus Oregons and Stanford's versus Clemson's than you will, Troy versus Alabama. I mean, you'll see more of those bigger games televised, because I've always made fun of that, and I've always made fun of the college not having the playoff, and that's going to get bigger too. And heck, with when these TV deals coming through, I wouldn't be surprised if college football got bumped up to like a 12, 13, 14 regular season schedule at some point, where they start playing longer and then into the playoffs. I mean, this is becoming semi-pro anyway. They're the money's going to the student athletes now anyway. This is turning into a minor league system pretty much at this point. This is big business. Is college football.
The money that's going to the players is completely separate from the TV contracts, and we can go into that NIL, blah blah blah. Who pays who and whatnot. There's a lot to unfold. There's going to be a lot of dominoes that fall. The pack 2, 3, 4. I still haven't seen confirmation of what
six pack, 2-pack, 4-pack.
The bastard pack. I don't know. It's like that is a reference to an AEW wrestler.
Oh, good one.
But it is what it is. It's so much to unfold. We have a year really to see what exactly is going to happen. I think the SEC is the only one that posted a 2024 schedule, because I think they're locked in stone. I think they're staying at 16 with USC and with Texas and Oklahoma joining SEC next year. They've already locked in their schedule. I'm looking forward to Georgia Clemson next year. That's been locked in for years. And so hopefully those games stay in place, and we just
all roads lead to Dabo.
You're absolutely right. And
do you think there's any chance though, like as these conferences are getting bigger, that, like for example, the Big Ten, what did you say they're going to have? How many teams now?
Nine more. No, I'm joking.
Big Ten will have 18 teams.
18. Okay. Do you think there's any chance that at some point the Big Ten says, you know what, we don't need Indiana and Minnesota and Illinois, and they start dropping them and try to drop down and just to keep the power, the more prevalent teams? Because I mean, if their deal is whose Big Ten deal is it with Fox? Is Big Ten Fox?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Fox is paying, and the teams are splitting money. Do you want to split money with Purdue whenever they're not drawing? I mean, Fox isn't paying to put Purdue on TV. They're paying for Ohio State and Penn State, and now Oregon and Washington. I mean, they're paying for the bigger teams. I mean, are they going to want to pay out or is Ohio State and Michigan, are they going to split money with Minnesota when nobody cares? I mean, I'm just curious if that's ever going to be a possibility that comes down the line where they start chopping teams. You didn't make the cut this year.
This is where, and this is, Scott, this is going to bother you, since you always got jokes and everything. If they're going to do it somewhat of that nature, it needs to be somewhat soccer related, where you have a relegation system, where the bottom two teams and this is performance based. They got nothing to do with ratings, because that's what shouldn't be that way anyway. If you bottom two of the SEC, bottom two of the ACC, bottom two of the Big Ten, bottom two of the Big 12, they drop down to Mountain West, the All American Conference.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it would resort to that.
But that
just because, like I said, the TV, it's the TV money is controlling this. They don't care about all of that. They just care about putting the ratings grabbers on the big names, the big guns. I don't know. I understand what you're saying, and I know that there are, what's the little soccer clubs, they do that kind of stuff once in a while, but I don't know. And big boy football, I don't think they'll do it that way. Like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if this whole thing, if the power conference thing eventually evaporates too, and like I said, they start just zoning it, where everybody's playing like they do in the NFL. And there's the West Division and the Midwest Division and the East Division, Coast Division, something to that, you know. I don't know. It's also crazy that I wouldn't put anything past any of these money hungry. I mean, it's all money based, and it is sad that you're losing a lot of these rivalries in game. It is sad because I like the old school, like the rivalries and stuff, and that's all.
There has to be a governing body, like the
you know what, the NCAA, they've been trying to be a governing body. First of all, They tried and they failed miserably. The NCAA has failed themselves miserably. And as far as that goes, that's how that goes. And I was also thinking, who's going to play in the Rose Bowl?
That whatever.
Yeah, just like you said, like Scottie D said, from a tradition standpoint, now the Rose Bowl is gone because
the Rose Bowl is going to be fine because Rose Bowl has a contract with the college football playoff.
Okay.
So they will still have those big New Year's games, college football playoff. It just won't be traditional.
I guess Oregon State's got it. They got a 50-50 chance to get it.
Yeah. It's just like what's the best way to put it? It's just like the Orange Bowl. The Orange Bowl is usually traditionally the winner of the ACC champion usually goes to the Orange Bowl. But guess what? If the Orange Bowl champion, the ACC champion, made it to the top 4, they would go to whatever college football playoff, and then the runner-up or the second best team, whoever the Orange Bowl so picked, would go to the Orange Bowl. The Rose Bowl is already doing that per se. So I mean,
they are.
They'll get. It won't be like I said. It just won't be a pack. It won't be a Pac-12, Pac-4, Pac-3.5 team. It'll be one of the college football playoff or one of the conference championship runner-up, where the conference champion doesn't even matter anymore if there's only 3.5 conferences. I don't know.
A pack of grits, a pack of nabs, a pack of cold chicken.
Basically, the pack, whatever, needs to just go ahead and pack it up. It's over.
Yeah, it's over. It is over. But yeah, that's where we at in college football. A bunch of money. And I like what Deion Sanders said. I don't care about nobody leaving, man. We're trying to win and play football games. I don't care where you trying to put us. I don't give a damn. I don't care where you trying to put us. Moving right along, fellas, let's talk about a fight, if you will. No, not that fight down there in Montgomery, in Alabama. And just to let you know, your boy is sitting on a folding chair. Yes, sir. Let's talk about Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez right up the street here. They threw hands, and it was funny, and Tim Anderson folded up like a couch. I think it was as Ramirez was sliding into second base, and I guess Tim Anderson is known when he tries to tag you, he tags you hard, like he's literally hitting you. And I guess Jose Ramirez put his finger in his face, and next thing you know, the gloves went off. And my favorite part was the umpire said, I'm trying. Well, y'all gonna knock the hell out of each other. Go right ahead. Go right ahead. Yeah. So yeah. I think it was funny. And the fact that he caught him, how can I describe this? A fadeaway, back-footed, uneven, unproportioned haymaker of a right hand, and it caught him on the chin, and Tim Anderson just went to sleep. What do you think about Tim Anderson and Jose Ramirez, fellas? What do you think about this mess, man?
I don't know what to think, because I only saw the post effects of it. It's just like anything else in baseball. It is what it is. Like, just there's certain things you just don't do. You don't you don't taunt. You don't take 20 seconds to round the base when you hit a home run. The unwritten rules of blah 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 blah, and then somebody's got to get it. It is what it is. That was just another instance of you tagging a little too hard, playing. Hey, let's not do. Nope, you got to throw hands.
Yeah, there was more to it than that. Tim Anderson's known as a little bit of an on-field grouch, and he had some other stuff brewing, I think, with some of the other team earlier prior to this. So I think there was already some sort of irritation, so to speak. There's already some bad blood beginning to brew. What I liked about it, and you're really not supposed to condone the fighting in baseball. In hockey, this happens on a nightly basis. In baseball, it's rare, and usually the suspensions are very large. I was surprised it was only like 6-3, I believe it was. But what I did like about it was first of all, the excitement that has drawn, the attention that it has drawn, the fact that it happened on the 30-year anniversary weekend of Nolan Ryan digging into the skull cap of Robin Ventura. It was almost like a celebration. Like, what can we do to honor Nolan Ryan punching Robin Ventura noogie style on the top of the head? Let's just go ahead and drop the gloves hockey style and honor him. But then give credit to that Cleveland Guardians announcer, Tom Hamilton, because that audio was amazing.
Priceless gold.
Down goes Anderson. And then he's just the description he laid out beyond that of the other things. I heard the whole audio, which was maybe just a minute or so long. Fantastic job. As a guy who's like loves listening to different sports broadcasters, that dude is to be commended for that performance, because he did lay it out and he made it more exciting. And I liked how afterwards Tito Francona said, boys will be boys. They didn't blow it up in anything more than it had to be. It was just two dudes got in a fight, and that happens. Tensions run high, especially we're in the dog days of August. We're in the dog days of summer for baseball season. I guess I don't encourage that to happen, especially like Cleveland. That's their best player who they're going to lose for a couple games. And Chicago, that's their best player too, I suppose, but they're not, they're not going anywhere. But it does encourage the rivalry. It'll make it more interesting to see the next two times those guys get on the same field with one another. So, hey man, in this case, I got to say it was good for baseball, bad for Tim Anderson though. Because man, he is stuck for life with jokes and memes. He's he's stuck for life.
Hey, you got Jose Ramirez and Nolan Ryan up here, Robin Ventura and Tim Anderson.
Yes.
I don't care what the hell else Tim Anderson does for the rest of his career. He'll always go back to that Saturday night of getting knocked the F out. Another baseball topic, Scottie D, that you brought up to us. A Baltimore Orioles announcer got suspended for doing his job. What's that all about?
Yeah, this is one that it seemed to be picking up steam as the day went on, and it's not a topic that again, speaking of someone who likes announcement, this Kevin Brown is the announcer's name for Baltimore, and he was doing the pregame. When was it? Saturday, Sunday? It was over the weekend, I believe. Doing the pregame and pointing out how the Orioles have had very limited success since 2017, I believe it was, against the Rays, and basically highlighting the fact that this team is good. They're coming along now. They're better than anyone expected. I mean, Baltimore's got a good, hungry young team, and they are playing good baseball. They've won 70 games already. And this takes away, I think, a little bit of that elation, because now even the Baltimore fans are not happy about this. But he was merely citing the past record they had and how they had a chance to kind of turn that around. And it wasn't just like a spur of the moment type of, he wasn't even saying anything bad about the team. He was just pointing out facts, and it was on the screen, on the graphic. So this was obviously something that had been planned in pre-production. He didn't just come off. This was information that the team provided. This is like from the sports media department, whatever, or the sports information. They're providing this. He says on the air, and he's punished by getting suspended. Can't understand how. I don't like. There's no way that's a terrible look for Baltimore, for their ownership to allow that. They should be suspended for what they're putting this guy through. Be Live. What's on your mind there?
Oh, I'd be cussing.
Yeah.
I'd be hot. And there'd be no, and see, I guess once you get to that level, when it comes to being in the sports media, you gotta carry yourself with some type of
professionalism, decorum,
candor, decorum, stuff like that.
All them fancy little SAT words that y'all just said. I'd act a little crazy. Some of my dirty south will come out of me. I reported something that is actual fact. I wasn't dogging the organization. I'm literally just telling you that it's been since 2017 since Baltimore has won a series in, I believe, what's it, Tampa Bay, right?
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah.
And so they've already done better than that this year. I guess they tied a 2-game series or something like that earlier in the season. And like, hey, this is the time, this is the moment. The Orioles are the best team in the American League. They're only a game and a half behind the Atlanta Braves, which is the best in all of baseball. And he's
the best team in the best division.
Right, like it's unreal that, man, nah, bro.
Here's the thing that bothers me. We know, guys, that you have to be careful what you say these days. Like Glenn Kuiper with his, his racial slur, intentional or unintentional, he made a mistake and is paying for it. Who is the guy from the Reds? Tom Brenneman, who on an open mic didn't know, made a mistake, made I think it was an anti-gay slur. This guy didn't do that type of thing.
He did his job.
He was doing his job correctly. And, we when we put the show together, we decided we don't want to get into controversial stuff. We want to be the opposite of the serious political side of sports. We want to be the fun side of sports. We want to, just talk, have fun topics and have fun.
We're going to tell it like it is. Like, hey, your team sucks.
Yeah.
They're doing great.
Yeah.
I understand he works for the Orioles organization. What if we gotten to the point where we can't even say, like, hey, we've been bad for quite a while, but we're doing better now, and this is what we've been facing. This is motivation.
Can you imagine if that was a Pirates organization?
Jesus.
Lord. They'd be suspending people left or right. You would never have an announcer pointing out past utilities of our Buccos.
Yeah.
Who actually this week, as of recording, are 1-0 against the Braves this week.
Oh, let me put this on gallery view because I need to see Bill to look on.
Already missed that.
I didn't bring it up the first time. Eddie did. So
I'm sorry, B. I didn't mean to.
No, you not. You are never sorry. You love getting this reaction out of me. You knew what was going to happen when you said it.
Let's go Bucks. Let's go Bucks.
You're talking about, I'm sorry. Your forehead is sorry. That's what's going on right now. See,
where's that mute button? I'm finna stop all this right now. Talking about my forehead. There's a lot of creative brains up in here. It is shiny. It did get a tan too.
It's a great forehead.
Then he got the nerve to pull his hair back.
Anyways, with that being said, we're gonna move right along to the next topic, but we're gonna take a little break first, and hopefully B Live will be back on the other end of this break. Coming up next, we're gonna talk about the National Football League and everything that's going on there.
No, I'm not going nowhere.
Yeah, right. Did Kareem Hunt sign with the Saints or did he not? We'll see in a little bit right here on the Sports Bros Podcast. As promised, we are back with you here again at the Sports Bros Podcast. Took a little minor break. I was able to get something to drink to wet my palate because I talk a lot. I was even on radio. Fellas, I was on the radio today, like at the station. I was like legit on the radio. Came as a surprise, but it was fun. It was cool. I was
right on, Eddie. Cool.
Yeah, I was on a cool cat WDLW. Good fun. Shout out to GT in the afternoon. NFL, it's here, fellas. Training camp, well underway. Some people getting paid and some people not. Kareem Hunt ain't a free agent, but he is a free agent. Be live. What was on your mind about Jonathan Taylor that you were just talking about before you went on the air?
Jonathan Taylor is sick of the Indianapolis and Jim Irsay. Let's just put it that way. When Jim Irsay just basically said that he might die tomorrow and Jonathan Taylor may be somewhere else and football will still go on. I'm like, what? Wait a minute.
Life goes on without me.
I'm like, well, that was harsh. I mean, I would like my owner to value my presence at the job just a little bit more than that. That's one of those things where people usually quit their jobs when, like, oh shoot, we'll replace you tomorrow. You're not that big of a deal. Oh, okay. Is that how you feel? That's how you really feel? And Jonathan Taylor said, okay, this is how you really feel. You don't want to extend my contract. You want to keep me under my rookie contract for the last year. And after I done put up 1,800 yards for you a couple of years ago, yeah, I got hurt just like anybody else did. But every time I'm on the field, I produce. And I am one of the top running backs in the league. Okay, cool. Well, while I am rehabbing, just having a little surgery, whatnot, I'm going to go rehab on my own. Where normally players that are in training camp, they'll rehab with the team, et cetera. So he said, no, you know what? Y'all don't want to pay a brother? I don't want to be here. Holla at me when y'all ready to pay. I'm going to go rehab on my own. I'll be back when I decide I'll be back. Deuces. All right.
Well, who's going to pay him? Where's it going to come from? He'd be having this problem with pretty much any NFL team because he chose right in the heart of the running back, I'm not getting paid enough discussion to then say, I want $16 million a year right now. That's when he decided to do that. He wants $16 million coming off ankle surgery while other running backs who are really good running backs aren't getting jobs because they're not getting the contract they wanted. I think it's a dangerous game to play here. Ask Le'Veon Bell. He never got that year back that he decided to sit out. He was never the same.
Somebody's got to push the envelope. Like you can't. Here's the thing, Scottie D. I get your argument. I get that. Oh, you just take what you can take, and that's what the value is. I get it, but that's not how professional sports are. They've never been that way. If professional sports was played that way, owners would be they would nickel and dime every single player they could. Players are getting the contracts that they're getting because somebody pushed the envelope. There's a reason why Justin Herbert has he won any playoff games?
Don't think so.
I don't think he's won
He blew one last year.
Completely blew one, and still he's the highest paid player in the NFL. Somebody pushed the envelope because there's value in that. Like,
well, Todd Gurley and Ezekiel Elliott pushed the envelope, and that's why the value is what it is.
Well, and that at the end
they ripped that envelope open.
If Jonathan Taylor doesn't fight, then no one else has the resume to. Like okay, how about this? Deebo Samuel. They were trying their best to keep him running the ball. And Deebo said, Now, first of all, y'all ain't paid me yet. And this is last year that I'm talking about. Y'all ain't paid me yet. And y'all still want me to do double duty? Yeah, we're not going to do that. First of all, you're going to pay me like a wide receiver because I am a wide receiver. He pushed the envelope and he got paid. That's how negotiations work. Jonathan Taylor, I stand behind you. Scottie D doesn't. It is what it is. It's
not that I stand behind him. It's just that he just chose to try to get a huge running back deal right when everybody is telling you that market's not there any longer. And he said he's mad at the Colts for not giving him that extension, giving him that money. But it doesn't matter what team he'd play for. He wouldn't be getting it anyway. Dalvin Cook was one of the best running backs in the NFL last year, and he's unemployed. He can't find a deal.
That's what negotiations are about. And at the end of the day, you set at a price that you're willing to go with. Jonathan Taylor isn't there yet. Dalvin Cook isn't there yet. Dalvin Cook is on the other side of his career. Jonathan Taylor is not. Well, here's the problem. Teams think that Jonathan Taylor is already on the other side of his career, and he hasn't gotten out of his rookie contract. If he doesn't fight now, it's over. It's literally over for all these running backs that are coming up into the league right now. If Jonathan Taylor doesn't fight now, it's over. Teams will just roll over every single running back. Jonathan Taylor.
Like I said, it is what it is. That your value is what you can get.
Get rid of the position then. Just run five wide. Run five wide. That'd be the stance.
You can't get rid of the position because you're always going to run the ball, but you're not going to pay somebody the big slice of the pie because the quarterback's getting it, and so are the tight ends. And
that's the perfect way to say it, Scottie D. You said it out of your own mouth. You're always going to run the ball.
Right. You're always going to run it.
For a running back, so pay them.
Whether it's Zeke or Tony Pollard or Dowdle from South Carolina. If Tony Pollard and Zeke ain't getting the job done, Dowdle will come in and he'll get the ball for a fraction of the prices. Sony Michel just retired at 26 years old. Sony Michel retired, B-Live. His net worth is $5.6 million. If somebody told you could work for 5 years and walk away with a net worth of $5.6 million, you're not going to take that?
Nope.
Yeah, I bet you.
Not at a job where the same skill set somebody's getting paid this. Not at the same job.
Then what would you do instead? What are you going to do? If you're running back and you're coming into the league and you say, listen, we're going to draft you and you're going to get 5 years and you can make, with endorsements, you can make $11.5 million.
NFL agents, you have friends, you have people that you went to school with, that you talk to that are NFL agents. How dare you talk like this? This is sacrilege. If you were coming into the NFL and they said, where's my man Joel at? Joel, you know what? I apologize. I understand if you heard Scottie D right now, speak the Joel
would sign up in a minute if he could get a player 5 years, $5.6 million.
Get my man on the show right now.
He would sign up for that in a heartbeat.
I need to hear this from him. I don't believe you, Scottie D. I'm not going to take.
Okay, so going back to now, listen to my question. If you're coming out of college, and you could be a running back or a school teacher, and you have a chance to make $5.6 million. Let me finish. You have a chance to walk away with endorsements, $11.5 million in 5 years. You're going to say, nope, not good enough for me. I'm going to teach school. No, you won't. You'll take that deal. You'll take that market. 28 years old, and you already got $5 million in the bank at 28 years old. Get out of here. You're absolutely taking it.
You have lost your mind. See,
if that's what the running back market turns into, where that's the best you can do, somebody is taking that job. I promise you.
That is the problem. You can't keep just downgrading the position and devaluing the position and think people are just going to be like,
that's what the value is.
It's not.
It's not worth $16 million a year because nobody's paying it. That's what the value is. If it was worth that much, Jonathan Taylor, the coach, would have said, oh, yes, here's $16 million for the next 3 years. That's not where it is anymore.
You're trying to get away with what should not. This should not even be a conversation at all. First of all, for a top running back to not even be able to get out of his rookie contract, they can't even meet somewhere in the middle. Somebody's being irrational, and I don't think it's the player. I will never side on the side of billion-dollar owners. I won't do it.
I'm not taking sides. I'm saying here's what it is. It is what it is. And they're crying about what they want it to be and what it should be. But that's what it is. It's the reality. It's the reality.
If you're listening to this episode, Joel, I apologize. Because I know you value your job as an agent much higher than what Scottie D is trying to argue to me. Would you rather be a running back or a high school teacher? Cut it out. Stop it. I'm not going to allow you to speak on this anymore. Eddy, cool. We got some other segments to go on to because he's being ridiculous right now. You can't
by being you treat me by like my man Kevin Long of the Orioles, speaking truth, and you trying to shame me.
I'm not trying to shame you. I'm trying to get you to understand that just rolling over and taking what they give you is never how you do business. You never.
It is what it is.
No, it ain't.
It actually is because Jonathan Taylor didn't get what he wanted.
This ain't neither did gonna be what it's gonna be. I'm not doing this the way it is when it is how it is when you do it.
It is what it is, buddy. It is what it is.
There ain't no it is what it is. No, it's not gonna be.
It's reality. They're not paying it out. It's not happening.
Gonna pay something. They're gonna be out. They're gonna be out of a running back.
Well, I look at it like this. I had a conversation with some of my other buddies the other night. We feel that what's going on with running backs is cyclical because it's going to come.
That's what I said last week too.
Yeah, it's cyclical because it's like that now because of Zeke, and Todd Gurley. And if I'm an owner, I just like, well, gave them a bunch of money and saw it happen, and gave him a bunch of money, and he ain't been back in the league since. So I get to an extent, I get it. I will say that I get it. But I think probably 3 years from now, the demand for running back is going to be even greater than what it is now. And
I pray and hope so, but the way they're devaluing it, they're basically saying that, hey, we're going to get a fresh batch of running backs come into the draft this year. We're not going to draft them first round, so we're going to pay them second round, third round, fourth round money. So they're going to get a 4-year contract for $7 million, and we're going to run the dog crap out of them. And then we're just going to be like, oh, you're done. Let's get another batch in.
That's how it goes.
I swear that sounds like mid-90s NFL contract negotiations.
I mean, it's how the league is.
That's what they're trying to go back to that, and it shouldn't be that way.
But it is what it is. Arian Foster, Chris Johnson, these guys look like they were unstoppable. They get big contracts and their production falls. It's because that's just what happens to running backs. So why pay that big money whenever you're going to get less production going forward, and you can get the same for less? It's business.
And that business model is going to fail very soon. Because I'm gonna tell you the cyclical argument that is going to go in the circle. I can tell you right now, there's less kids right now that want to be running backs. Right now,
but they will.
Who? For what? Why would I?
To get paid in college, and then to get paid if you get a chance to take 5 years and make $12 million, you're going to do it. You're going to do it. If you're 5'8" and you weigh 220, you're not a wide receiver, buddy. You're a running back, buddy. You're going to do it. You're going to take the money. If that's your skill, set for life. Sony Michel, good. Set for life. Healthy. Walked out of the game. Set for life.
There was something I saw a few days ago about Sony Michel and Stetson Bennett.
Yeah.
About them both being the same age. One just got into the NFL and the other one just retired. And at one point in time, they were teammates. I was like,
college teammates.
Damn, that's crazy.
Sony Michel done won 2 Super Bowls while Stetson Bennett still in college.
Yeah, yeah, ain't that something? Yeah. He already did that one. Two Super Bowls while old boy was still in college. I think it was like a 9th year red shirt junior or some riff and raff like that. But fellas, looking at my phone because I've yet to get a watch. Guess what time it is?
Time to take a peek.
What time?
At the choices of the voices?
Yep, time to take a peek at the choices of the voices. And you know what? We're gonna go ahead and just slide right into it. Hey, yo, button, hit it.
And now, our favorite part of the show, the choices of the voices.
Once again, thank you to the wonderful and ever so lovely Miss Button for introducing our favorite portion, the choices of the voices. It was a slow week for the choices of the voices, kind of a down week, but summertime, you got to get those vacations in. You got a whole lot going on and a whole lot to do. So with that being said, Scottie D, what's the question for this week's choices of the voices?
I thought it'd be a good topic, but I didn't have much response on. But we just asked you to tell us who you thought was the most underrated and overrated wide receivers in the NFL. Matty Ice came through, Eddie Cool.
Yep, he came through. And if I can find his answer. Oh, here it is. I found it. All right, so Matty Ice, Martin Tracy, he said Odell Beckham is overrated. Most underrated receiver, Amari Cooper. Yep. So he says that. And then he also says, I like Brandon Cooks as another underrated player that's very different. I like Brandon Cooks as another underrated player that every year different teams, different quarterbacks just produces. And that is a fact. Yeah.
That's a good point.
About Matty Ice, Martin Tracy. So shout out for him to participate in this week's Choices of the Voices. Scottie D, who you got?
Yeah, actually, I think his Amari Cooper call is interesting because I've heard people say he's overrated, but I think a lot of that had to do with being a Dallas Cowboy. Now that he's moved on from there, he's a little bit underrated. So I struggled with this one because there are so many good receivers in the NFL. I think the one I'll say this one was a little bit of a easier call. I think probably to me the most underrated is Terry McLaurin from Washington, just because the guy goes out and puts up numbers, and he's had a bunch of scrubs under center for most of his career. A lot of credit to him for gutting it out, although I'm sure he's probably his patience got to be wearing thin out there as seemingly everybody associated with that organization. I think the one I was going with probably is underrated was Chris Godwin of Tampa Bay. I feel like he kind of still has a reputation from having a really good year. I think it was 2019, and being on the other side of Mike Evans, and then he had Antonio Brown there for a little bit. Not that he's not good. I don't see his name in the lights as much as I do with some of these other wide receivers. I was going to say Tyreek Hill, but that's insane because he's really good.
He's Tyreek Hill.
Yeah, he's so fast. That's the thing. He's not to me like the big jump ball receiver. He's just a guy that'll catch it and then just be gone. So that's and the reason I was thinking also because he left Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes won the Super Bowl. But I can't use him as my answer. I'm going with Godwin. Be Live. Who you got?
Well, I am going to agree with the Iceman when it comes to overrated because Odell Beckham, he just hasn't done it for me outside of that one ridiculous catch. I mean, like just a couple things just to cover with. His rookie season, 108 yards per game. Next year, 96.7. Next year, 85.4. Fourth year, 75.5. Then when he gets to Cleveland, year 6, 64.7. Second year with Cleveland, 45.6 yards. And now he's supposed to be the heir apparent and the savior of the Baltimore Ravens. Come on. I don't know. Like he was hurt. He was really hurt, and we just don't know. So for him to be the heir apparent wide receiver 1 for the Ravens and supposed to be the one that takes him and Lamar Jackson, his ridiculous contract, to the Super Bowl and beyond, I don't believe it. Underrated for a couple of reasons. A, because I mean, this has got to be the greatest name in professional football. But Amon-Ra Julian Haru J. St. Brown.
Oh,
yeah. Amon-Ra Julian Haru J. St. Brown. Don't ask me what that J is at the end. I don't know. It is what it is. His brother Equanimus has the same. His brother, just want to throw that out there, is Equanimus Tristan Imhotep J. St. Brown. That
there's one other brother, and his name's Bob.
And Mike St. Brown. You know what the funny thing about that is, Be Live? I don't know if you guys remember, I don't know how many years ago, they had a news feature on them, and the dad was like, look, they're going to be special, they're going to be prolific, and they got to have special first and last name. His name is Equanimus St. Brown, and his name is Amon-Ra St. Brown, and they eat liver. I'm like, this dude is a nutbag. But I'm looking, I'm like, Daddy might have been on to something.
Hey, Amon-Ra, he casually put together 1,100 yards last season with 6 touchdowns with Jared Goff as his quarterback. And I expect him to be a breakout star this year. Mm-hmm. Nobody's really talking about it, man.
Well, secret's out on him though at this point.
It's out. Yeah, it's out. He is known. Yeah,
I didn't see him coming last year though.
So we'll see how year 3 treats him. But man, dude's already had Yeah, I expect to see him. Detroit's going to be one of those sleeper teams, especially with the status of the NFC North. With I mean, look at their quarterbacks. So, yeah, exactly.
Lions playing opening night this year.
Yep, against the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh boy, that'd be a perfect time to showcase. I think that's going to be I think that's going to be a high scoring game. I think it's going to be 40, 50 points to 40, 50 points. I think it's going to be high scoring. It's going to be very interesting. But that's my overrated and underrated. OBJ, hopefully you do better. Hopefully you're better. Hopefully you have a great season. I just got to see it. Too much hype. I'm not there yet. Eddy, cool. You.
All right, so for let's see, overrated, I got a 1A and a 1B. B-Live mentioned it earlier, and I think Scottie, I think you mentioned it earlier, Odell Beckham Jr. He made a catch, and then that's it. He came to Cleveland, stunk up the bed. That's it. He really didn't. He really became a non-factor. Went to the Rams, got a Super Bowl, hurt his knee, cried, took a year off, and now they expect him to be an heir apparent to the Ravens. I don't understand it. That's my 1A. My 1B, Juju Smith-Schuster. Why do I say that? Was because, yeah, Corvette. Why do I say that? Is because I thought that with Antonio Brown gone, he would thrive. But he needed Antonio Brown in order to keep his own field career alive because he hasn't really.
That's a good call.
Yeah, he hasn't really done much since because I had him like on a fantasy football team. Like, man, he killing. But see, the thing about it is, he got exposed. I mean, he had Big Ben and he had Antonio Brown and then they had a half decent running game and stuff like that. But he came to the point where it's like, okay, as a true wide receiver one, no, no whatsoever. Underrated wide receiver, and we talked about him earlier this year when he got signed to Scottie D's Cowboys, and I think it's a great fit for the Cowboys. Brandon Cooks, all right? Brandon Cooks, I'm looking now, he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. He has 6 seasons of over of 1,100 yards or more. He played with Houston, the Saints, 1 year at the Patriots, and 1 year and 2 years with the Rams. Brandon Cooks is good. And he's another guy like Terry McLaurin who's thrived and survived under bad quarterback play. Davis Mills, some other dudes. I don't need like
and it ain't getting better this year.
Look.
It's not getting better.
You go, the Dak hate continues.
Oh man,
it's better than damn Davis Mills.
Maybe.
Okay, Scottie D. Hey, let's do this. Let's look out of this, get to the future. All right.
Next week's question: over under 15 interceptions for Dak Prescott.
And the thing about Brandon Cooks, man, I'm looking at his numbers, man. He has 8,000 career yards, and he gets a couple more years of 12 to 1,500 yards, and he enters that category of 11,000 plus yards. So yeah, severely underrated Brandon Cooks and overrated Juju Smith-Schuster and Odell Beckham Jr. Scottie D, what's on tap for next week's Choices of the Voices?
I asked this question a year ago, and I'm going to ask it again because it's a different year. For our fantasy football boys out there, boys and girls, you get the number 1 pick in the draft. Who you taking? Who do you think should be the top pick in the fantasy football draft? This year, it's fantasy football season.
Yep, it is.
Wait.
It is fantasy football season. Speaking of that, for those of you that have not renewed to the Sports Bros Podcast Fantasy Football League, do it. Do it, all right? Do it. And
are we doing that again this year?
Yes. And I have more information on when the draft is coming up soon, all right? And
was I in it last year?
Yeah, you was in it last year.
I was? Okay.
Yeah, you were in it last year. Yeah, you were good.
Top Master Chief Sergeant, 5-star of the world, Lorenzo Livingston, retired.
Sports Bros Podcast Hall of Famer, by the way.
For winning our fantasy football league last year. That ain't happening this year.
Oh, he said it's not happening this year. All right, coming up next is a round of pepper. Stay tuned right here on Sports Bros Podcast.
Okay, boys, let's bring it home with a round of pepper.
All right, you know how to do it. It's time for us to go home and get what I call the hell up out of here. But before we go, we got a round of pepper. You know how we do it. 3 topics, rapid fire style, kind of, sort of, not really here to engage, enlighten, educate, and entertain. The 4 E's in no particular order, all right? I'll go first. On this day in history, back in 1971, Satchel Paige is inducted into baseball's Hall of Fame. Satchel Paige did it all. I think he played until he was like 42. So, yeah. Shout out to the legendary Satchel Paige for being inducted to the Baseball Hall of Fame on this day back in 1971. Over to you, Scottie D.
Welcome to Pittsburgh, to the NHL's best defenseman, Erik Karlsson. The Norris winner of 2012, 15, and 2023 is heading to the Berg. The Penguins need a little shot in the arm here. We need a little something. This could be it. And thank God that we're getting the best defenseman, because our goalie, Tristan Jarry, just signed a 5-year extension. So we need a little help back there. Anyway, Stanley Cup next year, Be Live. Over to you.
Yeah. All right. For my first pepper point, I may make Scottie D a little bit mad because he usually reports this information, but I'm gonna steal it because I don't know. It's funny to me. But Logan Paul, off of his brass knuckle win over Ricochet at SummerSlam, is now jumping back into the boxing ring October 14th, Manchester, England, where he will face Dylan Dennis. Dylan Dennis is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu champion and training partner for UFC superstar Conor McGregor. So he's not a boxer. So this is wonderful. Steve Paul boys refuse to actually box against boxers. Eddie Cool, the ball.
You want to know why? Because they know they're going to get boxed in their mouth, okay? If you're from Charleston, you know what I mean. You're going to get boxed in their mouth, all right? All right, second pepper point. Fellas, do you know a gentleman by the name of Patrick Ricard by any way? You know who he is?
Sounds familiar.
I'm going to tell you who he is. He's the big fullback from the Baltimore Ravens, all right?
Okay.
So here's a little known fact about him, all right? Back in they call him a Project Pat. That's his nickname, Project Patar. In 2019, he became the first player in NFL history, first NFL player in 10 years to play over 100 snaps on offense and defense in the same season, where he lined up at fullback on offense and defensive tackle on defense. All right. So might I mention this guy is 6'3", 305 pounds. This dude is playing fullback. What you mean, you blocked for me? So anyways, he had surgery last season. He's coming off an injury and off-season hip surgery. And so guess what? This year, they're going to try Project Pat. They're going to try him on the offensive line. Since he's come back from training camp, the product of the University of Maine has been taking reps with the offense. So a versatile player. I wonder how much money he's making. He really earns it. To play offense, defense, and 30 other positions, give him the money.
It's like Shohei Ohtani.
Yeah. Ohtani, Shohei. Poor Angels. But yeah, Patrick Ricard, the real definition of a Swiss Army knife. Over to you, Scottie D.
All right, Be Live, you mentioned them Paul brothers. What a night they had on Saturday with Logan Paul beating Ricochet at SummerSlam, and then Jake Paul and Nate Diaz in an absolute boxing classic. This was a shame. It really was a shame. It was entertaining, but it was not good boxing. However, the week before, the long-awaited fight finally happened. Terrence Crawford and Errol Spence. We've been waiting for that one for years and years and years, and it was not even close. Terrence Crawford showed that he is not even on the same level as another fighter on this planet. And I got to tell you, it was so impressive that at this point, I don't even care about the rematch. because what could this guy possibly do to get close to Terrence Crawford? Because he didn't get near him. He won the first round, Spence did, only because it was just kind of a feeling out process. And from there on, it was over. And when I tell you it was over, it was not close at all. So I know somewhere along the line, a rematch is coming. I have a hard time seeing anything but the same result. Terrence Crawford, best in the world. Be live.
And he didn't break a sweat until the 6th round. Go ahead, be live.
Yeah.
My second pepper point, shame on you, NCAA. Just do better. Well, you know how everybody transfers in the transfer portal, transfers 3 times, 4 times. Well, this was a legitimate transfer where Daryl Jackson Jr. transferred to Florida State to be closer to his mom, has a medical condition. But since he's already transferred twice, he started at Maryland, transferred to Miami, and transferred to Florida State to be close to his mom. The NCAA said, nope, you got to sit out a year because we don't care about your mammy. NCAA, come on. There's exception to the hardship waiver request. Make it happen. They denied it. Shame on you, Eddy Cool, the ball.
Well, I guess the NCAA figure was since we got a conference over here about to blow up, NIL deal's taking over. Let's go piss somebody off, shall we? All right. So third and final pepper point. Happy birthday to Coach Prime, Deion Sanders. He turns 50. If I can find it, he's in his 50s. Yeah, Coach Prime is in his 50s, and as a player, he's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. He played baseball, an 8-time Pro Bowler, a Hall of Famer, 2-time unanimous All-American at Florida State University. And as a coach, he won the SWAC in 2021, 2022, a 2-time a SWAC East Division champion, and 2-time SWAC Coach of the Year, and the Eddie Robinson Award for Coach of the Year of HBCUs. He has a total of 512 tackles, 53 interceptions, over 1,000 yards in interception returns, over 2,000 yards in punt returns, grand total of kickoff return yards, 3,000 plus, and 22 total touchdowns. Happy birthday to you, Coach Prime, baby. If I ain't swag, who ain't swag? Over to you, Scottie D.
Over to me. I just want to give a shout out to Jerry Jones trying to win the Super Bowl for the Cowboys in the first time in 30 years, taking a kicker from the USFL into the season. Be live. Over to you.
My third and final pepper point. Y'all know how I like to do it. It's what happened. And watching football, no-name team, Redskins, Commanders, whatever, they won.
The Magic Johnsons.
Yeah. Coach Ramirez said some of his players expressed concern over new offensive coordinator Eric Bieniemy's intensity during practice. He's coaching too hard. Bieniemy says, I'm always going to be loud, I'm always going to be vocal, always going to demand from my leaders. If I ain't doing my job, my ass gets fired. It's my job, my responsibility to make sure I'm getting our guys to do what I'm expecting them to do. He just won a Super Bowl. Listen to the man. Go to work. Put in the work. Come on, Commanders. Y'all ain't never going to get right. You got a new owner. Please get a new mentality. Boy, he coaches too hard. He's too intense.
Ron Rivera's still the coach? Sheesh.
Yeah.
If his players have anything to do with it, he won't be the coach next year, and Bieniemy's going to be the head coach. So everybody going to catch it.
Yep. And with that being said, it's been another episode of the Sports Bros Podcast. And in closing, do something nice for yourself. And if you can, do something nice for someone else. They're greatly appreciated now more than ever. Be a blessing, not a burden. This is the Sports Bros Podcast.
Yes, sir.
It's still a home.
Yes, sir.
And a chair is still a chair. Take us home, Be Live.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. I said that too. Yes, sir.
And we out. Thanks for listening and watching the Sports Bros Podcast. Hey, it's Eddy Cool here from the Sports Bros Podcast. Thank you for listening. And as always, continue to follow us on all of our social media platforms. Just click the link in the description box and keep up with the Sports Bros Podcast. And once again, thanks for listening.